During our Saturday Night live stream, I got a really interesting question, which is probably the hottest button question you can get right now. And it was, of course, what do you think about Jews? The answer I have to this question is the same answer I have to all questions in politics, actually. And it's unanswerable without understanding my political paradigm and how I understand politics as spiritual warfare. This is a question I've answered a lot for people in my personal life when they've asked me questions about various things, including how conspiracy theories works or what I think about conspiracy theories as a phenomena or as a process or as a system. So this question gave me the opportunity to answer that and explain it, which my friends in my real life have been telling me to do for quite a while, was to record me saying and explaining all this. So just in this context, I got a chance to explain one example of how my theory of politics as spiritual warfare works. If you enjoy this, I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't seen it before. Please leave a like, comment below. What do you think about the Jews? What I think about all politics is that there is a type of spiritual warfare that is radically misunderstood. There's this concept there's this concept of what is called an egregore, okay? So an egregore is when you have a group of individuals who act either in physical or causative, is that a word, chat? Is that a word? Whatever. You guys get what I mean. They act in either physical or causative proximity to each other, and their actions overlap in such a manner as to cause the sum of their actions to appear as though it might itself be an acting agent. So, for example, if you get 7 people in a room and they all do something and they don't even know how they're interacting, but all of their interactions sum up to cause a table to be broken. You might say an egregore broke the table. That's a really basic way to explain it, okay? You could even do it with 2 people. Let's say me and Mysterion are in a room, okay? And I drop my cell phone, and I bend down to pick up my cell phone. I can't reach it because the table's in the way. So I push the table, and Mysterion's turned around, right? So I push the table up, and I grab my cell phone, and then I'm distracted, so I don't move the table back, and I'm just texting. And then Mysterion trips over something, crashes into the table, and breaks it. Now, what's happened there is that Mysterion never chose to break the table, and I never chose to break the table, but the net sum is the table breaking. And so the egregore is this category of thing. Termites might be qualified as an egregore. Yeah, this category of thing that is the appearance of an agent where none exists. It's an emergent agent from the sum of human actions, okay? Now, I say all that so that you can understand that all I'm describing is a sociological phenomena. The word egregore itself actually comes from the occult, which I know a lot of you are immediately going to recoil at, so hold on. I literally lost 4 viewers. The word egregore literally comes from the occult, and they believe it comes from the human up and that the egregore is actually a real being that exists, right? Like the emergent interactions of human action create an actual agent. Clearly that's bullshit. However, the category of egregore is immensely useful for political thought because the category allows you to understand spiritual warfare in a way you probably haven't understood it before. Let's say, instead of calling these an egregore, let's call these seemingly emergent agents. Instead of calling them emergent agents, let's imagine it happening in the other way. There's a preternatural or a supernatural actor acting upon groups of people such that their goals are met. We might call this God's plan, the divine plan, right? Or we might call it temptation. Now, you can have 2 different things happening here. You can have a bunch of people operating in virtue in a way that God foresees, and he makes open to them and offers them opportunities to live their life in virtue, such that a new thing comes about, an action, something happens, which none of them foresaw or none of them intended for it to come about. And you can imagine this happening across thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people, right? A beautiful, great thing happens, right? Rome collapses and Christendom is born. I think is a great example, right? Rome collapses, Christendom is born, and a more Christian society is made, not because of any one man's actions, but because of the overlaps and sums of actions of all of humanity acting, not all, but all of the Christians acting in concert with God's will. Now, we can see this might happen. We could see a similar thing happen. Lots of people never intending for a bad thing to happen, do a bad thing in concert with each other. And this is what a conspiracy really is, okay, chat? So this is what a conspiracy theory, right? This is the spiritual axis of what a conspiracy actually is. You don't have to have a dozen people in dark cloaks in a room somewhere planning to do something. You have to have a dozen people, 100 people, 1,000 people, all falling into temptations in ways that result in evils which none of them foresaw or intended. Okay? You might categorize World War I in this way. A bunch of people fell into temptations in ways that result in World War I. None of them intending to start World War I. None of them intending to kill millions of young men in Europe. But nonetheless, millions of young men in Europe died because they all fell into temptations that overlapped in ways none of them could have foreseen. Now, one might see that if I wanted to harm a man, and I tried and I couldn't. I tried to kill a guy, literally, and then 3 days later he got up out of the grave. I tried to kill a guy, and 3 days later he literally got up out of the grave. Dang. I probably can't get that guy anymore, huh? The devil tries to kill Jesus, and 3 days later he literally gets up out of the grave. Dang, can't kill him anymore, huh? What am I going to do? Well, his chosen people, his firstborn, I could get to them. That would bring me joy. Or whatever the closest thing the devil can get to joy would be, right? Like whatever the closest thing the devil can get to joy, it would bring him joy to corrupt the people from which God brought forth the God-man onto the planet. The people, the blood from which God became incarnate on earth. Whatever the closest thing joy the devil can experience, he would experience that, corrupting that people, right? Maybe he's kind of successful, and he's been successful in a lot of ways. And it's not that they're uniquely susceptible, but they're uniquely targeted, I think. I don't think the Jews are uniquely susceptible to evil. I don't think they're uniquely evil. I think they're uniquely targeted. I think they're uniquely targeted, and they're uniquely targeted because of their competency and their history. They become uniquely competent, rise to levels of power, and they're uniquely targeted. And that level of uniquely targeted results in types and levels of temptation and actions which overlap and interact in ways that to someone who has a materialist perspective on sociology or politics would seem like these people specifically are acting poorly. This people group specifically is uniquely evil. No, obviously that's not true, right? All humans have the same moral worth. The law of God is written on all their hearts equally. but it might seem that way, right? And their interactions, those being in those positions of power, their actions would have greater consequences, and those greater consequences would last for longer, echo for longer, ripple further into the pond, if you will, and have better chances to overlap and create more chaotic and higher peaks and lower troughed wave patterns in the grand pond of the world political stage. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think that there has been their actions have the sum of their actions have the natural having an agentic illusion to them because there's unique plans to use them in uniquely evil ways. And because of their competency, because of their positions, it's more efficacious. Efficacious for good? Probably not. But efficacious. By the way, chat, that's how you should view all politics. All politics, the us versus them. It's all are you participating in the will of God or are you participating in the destruction of the devil? All action is creative or destructive. Either you're participating in the creation of the world, because God doesn't create the world in 7 days or 13 billion years or whatever, and then not interact with it anymore, right? That's to believe in the divine watchmaker. Like, God's creative power is active and real in this moment, right? Such that like I'm not making this stream, okay? This stream is an action of God's creative power because it's something when nothing should exist. Now, my message is either going to be a participation in the creation of God such that it brings you closer to Him and higher into knowledge of truth, or it's going to be a participation in the destruction of the world with the devil. If I sin on this stream and I bring you guys further from God, I draw you further away, I'm not creating, I'm destroying. And all political action is just that. It's just, are you participating in the emergent, the appearance of an emergent agent, which is really the participation in the will of God, such that all of your actions in the public space will overlap with the actions of other people doing good and creating a better world? Or are your actions negative, such that they have the appearance of an emergent agent, which is destroying the will of God, drawing men further from Him? That's all it is. That's all politics is. All politics is just that, chat. That's all politics is just are you participating in the will of God such that your public actions interact with the actions of others in public in a way that is net positive, even if you don't see it? Or are you doing vice? Are you being vicious or are you being virtuous? And all politics is, all the political phenomena, all sociology, all this like national conversations, all they are is just spiritual warfare that you're either participating in positively or you're participating in negatively through destruction. That's it. That's the whole thing. I got Kraft mac and cheese with a piece of bacon in it. really miss Fernando Mendoza already. You know, chat? Don't you miss him? Don't you wish he was still on the Indiana Hoosiers? Aren't you guys thinking about how much you wish Fernando Mendoza was still an Indiana Hoosier right now? Make sure you're in the clip with mac and cheese. Okay. Hey, thanks for watching that. If you have more questions about that, ask them in the comments below, or come and watch a Saturday night live stream. We stream from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. every Saturday night. That's right, 8 hours. Every Saturday, 8 hours on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. If you want to hear hear my take on current events or ask questions about this or any other thing, please come and join us.